I noticed Jude Bellingham's brother, Joe Bellingham, moved to Manchester United after just one season from Sunderland. And just as I expected, they completely wasted his potential talent and barely played him. Job has a potential close to his maximum of 160, but just sits at the 130 current ability. And in 2028, after 5 seasons and only 2 Premier League appearances, his contract was up and Manchester United were letting him go, and there's no interest in Joe Bellingham. And I just can't sit here and let this whole man's career just be ruined because of their incompetence. So I'm gonna save Joe Bellingham's career and somewhat emulate his brother's accomplishments. After looking through the Premier League clubs, one really stood out as a perfect home for Job: AFC Bournemouth. They were already rescuing failed wonder kids' careers, and from Manchester United too with Rasmus Højlund, who once again Manchester United never really gave a chance to in the first team. So the mission to save Joe Bellingham's career has begun, and I became the Bournemouth manager. And on the same day, his brother is linked with a move to the Premier League as well. So I offered Job a contract at the club, and I was the only club to do so. But he will find a lovely home here playing for the Cherries. And I built a 4-2-2 tactic around him, giving him a box-to-box midfield role, where he will probably play alongside another save wonder kid in Oscar Gluck. With Bournemouth's remaining transfer budget, I wanted to get a goalkeeper in, so I asked the director of football, who suggested this absolutely insane new gen from the Netherlands, who was really interested in joining us too. So I signed Murphy immediately, and he strengthens this team massively, because to be honest, the rest of the team is pretty good, and there's a lot of options per position, not really any big weaknesses. Age is also not a problem, as this team only has a few players close to or in their 30s and plenty of young exciting talents. And Job's first competitive game for Bournemouth would be Spurs away from home. And with fantastic performances all over the pitch, we picked up the win too, with Alan Velasco scoring the only goal of the game. But I was so pleased with Joe Bellingham's performance, a 7.3 average rating. And let's just say that continues across the rest of the season before we check that out. I'm getting ever so close to 100,000 subscribers, really close to getting that YouTube plaque up behind me. See if you can help me get there by pressing that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Amazing results continue throughout the season against a lot of big teams, including an unbelievable performance at the Etihad against Manchester City, where Job opened the scoring after just 17 minutes. Rasmus Højlund had the time of his life as well, scoring 2 goals in the first half, taking us into the halftime break 3-0 up. And we kept our core in the second, scoring a 4. And yes, we just beat Manchester City 4-0 in their own backyard. Following that was also a 6-0 win against Wolves, where Rasmus Højlund scored 5. For 2/3 of the season, we were phenomenal, but slightly dropped off towards the end of the season. But we accumulated 72 points and finished in 3rd place in the Premier League, from only signing 2 players, as Edgerton was already on loan at the club with a mandatory fee. We even did well in the FA Cup, sailing through the early rounds, knocking Liverpool out as well, and getting to the semi-final, where we only lost in extra time to Manchester City after Højlund scored a 94th minute equaliser. But our spotlighted player Joe Bellingham was fantastic and has developed incredibly well after just 1 season of first team football. He played 32 times in the Premier League, scoring 1 goal and getting 8 assists, and just short of a 7 average rating. He picked up a couple of injuries but didn't miss too many games. But we are still nowhere near as good as what Job can get to, so it's important we build on this season. And with the Champions League football next season, the board have given us £57 million. And the Bournemouth scouts have already been finding some absolute gems, like this 20-year-old centre-back at Anderlecht with a release clause. And this Brazilian right-winger who might be the best up-and-coming prospect coming out of South America, with unbelievable attributes. So as we were about to start this second season, I had signed both of these incredible wonder kids and saved them from being ruined at bigger clubs, as well as bringing in this striker from Dynamo Zagreb with a lot of promise. But we did not start the season as well, picking up a loss to Norwich. And the start of the season was woeful, with 2 losses and a draw from our first 3 games. We finally got a win under our belts in September against Middlesbrough, and that is exactly what we needed to turn our form around, eventually winning 3-0, including Joe Bellingham's assist for the last goal. And in our first Champions League game against Red Star, Bellingham scored a cracking goal as captain in a 5-0 win, completely flipping our form around to win every single game in September and getting our season underway properly, which only continued into the next month as we smashed Liverpool, who signed both Valverde and Tchouaméni from Real Madrid, by the way. And Joe Bellingham is running midfields and picking up a lot of assists. With Bournemouth's season currently changing course as we sit 2nd in the Premier League and 4th in the Champions League. We had a rocky time in November, but still only took 1 more loss to champions Chelsea, who are still dominating this season, with Zidane in charge of Benjamin Sesko as their key player. And yeah, he's absolutely incredible as well, and probably one of the best strikers in the world right now. But we were back flying again in December, scoring goals and beating teams Bournemouth wouldn't be beaten before we joined. Dismantling Liverpool for a second time in only a few months, this time 3-0, despite them having some of the best players in the world like Vlahovic and Osimhen at top of that midfield three that we mentioned earlier. They eventually got their revenge, however, knocking us out the Champions League quarterfinals on penalties. Joe played outstanding in that tie too, assisting 2 goals. We also got to the EFL Cup final against Chelsea and put in our fantastic performance at Wembley, winning our first trophy at the club and Joe's first career trophy as well, beating Chelsea 4-1. Annoyingly, right after they knocked us out in the FA Cup and beat us in the league just 2 games after. But after the horrendous start to the season, we pulled it back and finished strong. Finishing in 3rd place once again, this time with Manchester United winning the league. The most important thing is though the growth that we are seeing from Joe Bellingham. He played 62 games this season and got 16 assists. And he played in all 38 league games and got 11 assists in that competition alone. And a very good average rating, taking his current ability now to 146. I wanted to see what I could do with just one more season at Bournemouth. And they gave me a good budget and I sold players well to bring in players who would instantly make the team around Joe Bellingham incredibly strong. Because our job is not quite done yet. I want him to be playing for England and win trophies. Just like his big brother, who now has over 100 England caps, which is absolutely outstanding. Once again, we started this season with a loss, this time to Brighton. But we recovered much quicker this time, beating teams like Arsenal and Manchester City. And then I saw it. We've got Real Madrid in the Champions League. It's the Bellingham Derby. And with both brothers on the field, it was a midfield battle we all wanted to see, and it was very much a back and forth start, with Bournemouth taking the lead after 5 minutes and Real Madrid responding just 3 minutes later. Giovanni, though, scored us a second goal before half-time, then got sent off, but again, Real Madrid equalised right after. But we kept going despite Giovanni sending off and made it 3-2. And to cap off the game, captain Joe Bellingham assisted Velasco for a 4th. So the bragging rights in the Bellingham household goes to Joe, who played fantastic. However, Jude did get his revenge. Because in the round of 16, Real Madrid battered us in the first leg 4-0. That might be because Job couldn't play in that game, however. Hilariously, he returned for the second leg where Bournemouth won 2-1, but Jude's team did progress. However, in the league, nobody could stop us. Not even the champions and Højlund and Bellingham's former club, Manchester United. Or the champions the season before that, Chelsea. Not even Manchester City could stop us. And in the Premier League, we were fantastic all season long and consistent too. And we comfortably lifted the Premier League title for the first time in Bournemouth's history. And Job had a fantastic season as well, playing 49 times, scoring 5 goals and getting 6 assists, and is now up to 150 current ability. So after 3 seasons in charge, 1 Carabao Cup winner, 1 Premier League title, I'm going to resign as Bournemouth's manager and see if I have truly rescued Joe Bellingham's career. So I'm going to simulate until he retires to see if he continued to play football, whether he developed any more, and of course, did he ever play for England? Well, I've brought you back a little earlier because every season I've been having a look, and he's moved clubs, and he's actually gone to Inter Milan in Italy, which is amazing. Now, he has also played for England and 2 caps, and that's also a very recent thing too. We can see he looks still fantastic. So many player traits. I don't understand how he's managed to accumulate so many player traits, but his time at Bournemouth has come to an end. After we won the Premier League, they went on and won the FA Cup. Well, the FA Community Shield, and they went on and won the FA Cup, which was last season. We're in 2035 now. In 2034, they won the FA Cup. He got bought by Inter Milan in the August, but it kind of looks like he played a little bit more, or is that just because when I seen here, he only played 19 games last season. So whether he has some kind of injury, and only 2 starts in 17 appearances off the bench. Thankfully, he's gone to Inter Milan and he started 29 games there, so he is very much wanted by Inter Milan, and he's been playing quite well. 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 players in the matches, 7.28 average rating, which is exceptional, really. They didn't win the league because that would have come up there. They won the Coppa Italia. That is the Coppa Italia. He won the Coppa Italia. There we go. Did he play in that game? Hopefully he did. They're against Monza. I haven't got that fixture loaded. Never mind. We won't be able to tell. He gained his first international cap, age 29, against Bosnia and Herzegovina. So he's finally played for England. Now has 2 England caps. And now that he's age 29, we can have a look. His attributes, 154 current ability. Still not quite the 158. But it's still very good. I think, obviously, this has been a lot better career than what he would have had, considering he was doing terrible at Manchester United. So The fact that we've saved his career, yes, the Bournemouth manager, who is Eddie Howe, funny enough. Was he in charge when we left? It was Eddie Howe. He has been there for 4 years now. Obviously won the FA Cup. They favoured somebody else. They've been buying probably midfielders. Who's that? Victor Duque. They spent a lot of money on him. We transformed Bournemouth. Not only did we transform Jude Bellingham, but we transformed Bournemouth. Is that the guy that took his position? Possibly. There's a few names there that could have took his position. They bought quite a few players in wrong times, to be honest. So it's one of those things, all right? I thought he was going to stay at Bournemouth the rest of his career because he was very good there. Clearly, they didn't see that because the seasons after we left, he dropped his actual appearances by quite a lot. But I'm just glad now he's back having first-team football. That's the main thing. But we can see he's finally retiring, aged 36. So we've gone 5 or 6 years into the future, still at AC Milan. And he's still decent too. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I was hoping his physicals would hold up a little bit more. But the rest of him, considering he's retiring at age 36, I'm quite pleased with, to be fair. And he's still playing a lot of games in the Serie A. 27 starts for Jude Bellingham. 27 starts. That £36 million move was actually, it saved his career for a second time. That's without us. He has been playing every single season, 30 games at least every single year other than this year here in 2040. Maybe he had a bit of an injury in that season. 2040, yeah, he was out for 4 months there with a hip injury and Achilles tendonitis for 5 weeks into the new year. So he's had a couple of really bad injuries. And yet he's still done quite well and held on to his position in the Inter Milan squad. Now, I didn't have a look at the manager. It was Simone Inzaghi the whole time. It literally has been. It's been Inzaghi the whole time. They finished in 7th this season. I didn't actually have a look to see where they were finished when we had a look at it. But they haven't ever won the league. Monza won it in 2036. And they're second at the minute. Jesus, I didn't expect that at all. But they've been doing okay. They won the Coppa Italia in his first season. Did they win the Europa League winners? They won the Europa League. Lovely stuff. Now, he hasn't done anything since, but this is the final year, and they won the Europa League. On penalties against Arsenal. Did he play in the game? He did! Oh, that's lovely. He in his final game of football, he lifts the Europa League. He played in the holding role, as we can see there, against Arsenal, which is fantastic. The only thing I want to check, really, is his brother. Jude Bellingham, there he is, Real Madrid. He is also retiring. Oh, that's lovely. They're retiring at exactly the same time. Of course, he's 2 years old. He had a better natural fitness and a higher potential and higher current ability. So he's managed to hold on to that. He stayed at Real Madrid the whole time. Still playing majority of the games. He started 15, come off 16 off the bench. So they've had a lovely career, both of them. And we saved Jobs because that could have gone right down the toilet. Still only had 2 caps for England. But there we go. I think we can be happy with that. I think we can be more than happy with saving Jude Bellingham's career the way we did it and how he did. I think that's exceptional. He's a Premier League winner. Something that his brother can actually say he isn't. But that's fair enough. Anyway, remember, we're en route to 100,000 subscribers. We're closing in on that. If you can help us get there, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more things like this, let me know. And why not check out this video? It's really good.